From prehistoric tribes to samurai swords to Portuguese bread. Yes, bread. The Japanese language has been shaped by some wild influences. In this episode of Epic Language Origins, we are packing 2000 years of history into just minutes to show you how Japanese came to be. Prehistoric roots. Let's go way back to a time with no books and no writing, just people living off the land. The first known inhabitants of Japan were the Jōmon people. They hunted, gathered, and made pottery with distinctive rope-like patterns, some of the oldest pottery in the world. Then, around 300 BCE, new arrivals came from mainland Asia, the Yayoi. They brought rice farming, metal tools, and entirely new ways of living. As these cultures mixed, so did their languages. Most experts believe this led to proto-Japonic, the ancient ancestor of modern Japanese, and the Ryukyuan languages still spoken in Okinawa. Ryukyuan is still spoken in Okinawa today, but proto-Japonic itself has long disappeared. It was never written down. No alphabet, no records, just speech passed down generation to generation. The birth of writing. Fast forward to the 8th century, Japan had a new capital, Nara, and for the first time, people started writing Japanese. But instead of inventing their own writing system, the Japanese borrowed Chinese characters, known as Kanji, symbols that represent whole words or ideas. These had already spread to Korea, and through contact with Korean scholars and Buddhist monks, Kanji made their way to Japan. At first, they used kanji based on sound rather than meaning. This writing system was called Manyōgana. That's how we got early texts like the Kojiki, records of ancient matters, the Nihon Shoki, chronicles of Japan, and the Manyōshū, a poetry collection. Back then, Japanese had 8 vowel sounds, more than the 5 we hear in the language today. The rise of scripts. With writing now part of daily life, the language continued to evolve, especially during the Heian period. At that point in time, Japan's imperial court wasn't just running the country, it was shaping the future of art, literature, and language. The elite valued elegance, poetry, and literature, but their writing system, Manyōgana, was complex and hard to learn. Only highly educated men like monks and aristocrats used it. So 2 new scripts are born. Hiragana, a soft cursive script. Katakana, a sharper, more angular one. To show how each script differs, let's take the word Japan. It can be written in Kanji, Hiragana, and Katakana. Same word, these scripts all still used today. Hiragana evolved from cursive kanji and made writing much simpler. It became especially popular among women who weren't allowed to study Chinese characters. Suddenly, women had a powerful voice in literature and poetry, sparking a creative boom. Most famously, the Tale of Genji, often called the world's first novel, was written by Murasaki Shikibu, a court lady, poet, and literary icon. Because it was easier to use, Hiragana helped expand literacy across the country. Meanwhile, Katakana was developed by monks to annotate Chinese texts, quickly becoming the go-to script for formal and scholarly writing. As these new scripts took hold, spoken Japanese began shifting too. Vowel sounds dropped from 8 to 6. Grammar evolved into more familiar forms, and Chinese loanwords kept flowing in, especially through the Buddhism and scholarly exchange with China. Samurai dialects and breed. Next came the age of samurai, military governments, and long period of civil war. With no unified leader, Japan was divided into regions, each developing its own dialect, growing more distinct over time. Then, in the 1500s, came a major shift. The Portuguese arrived, the first Europeans to set foot in Japan. They came seeking trade opportunities in a country fractured but rich with potential. They brought firearms, gold, wool, Christianity, and words. That's where Japanese got words like pan, meaning bread, and tobacco. With foreign contact and regional mixing, pronunciation shifted again, vowel lengthened, and grammar started to take the shape of modern Japanese. Isolation and standardization. Under the Tokugawa shogunate, Japan entered a long period of peace and isolation. The government introduced a strict policy called sakoku, meaning close the country. Foreigners were mostly banned. Japanese citizens couldn't leave. At the same time, feudal laws restricted travel within Japan, isolating contact between regions even further. Because of the travel restrictions, dialects across Japan became even more distinct. Meanwhile, literacy boomed in growing cities like Edo, Osaka, and Kyoto. This was thanks to several factors. The long peace allowed people to focus on education and culture. Merchant families invested in literacy for their businesses, and terakoya schools taught reading and writing to commoners. As a result, the Edo dialect gradually became the standard, especially in education and official communication. By the end of this period, grammar was mostly modern, the vowel system was down to 5, and Japanese writing was more widespread than ever. Near the end of this period, Japan's borders opened again, bringing a new wave of foreign influence, especially from English. Modern Japanese. In 1868, Japan entered a bold new era, the Meiji Restoration. After centuries under military rulers called shoguns, power shifted back to the emperor. But this wasn't just a political change. It sparked a full-scale transformation across every part of life. The capital moved from Edo to Tokyo, a symbolic shift that marked Japan's modernization and opening to the world. The new leaders wanted Japan to catch up with the West, so they built railways, introduced factories, reformed schools, and embraced the foreign trade. Language was part of this transformation. To unify the nation, the government promoted Standard Japanese, or Hyojungo, based on the Tokyo dialect. It became the version taught in schools, used by officials, and spoken in the media. At the same time, English and other Western languages flooded in. That's why today you will hear konpyūtā, computer, ice cream, and netto, internet. These words are written in Katakana, which remains the go-to script for non-Japanese words. Over time, kanji was simplified, grammar got streamlined, and the language kept adapting through the pop culture, slang, and technology. Today, a global language of innovation and culture. Today, Japanese is heard far beyond Japan, from anime and video games to robotic labs, design studios, fashion runways, and international boardrooms. It's a language of tradition and innovation, shaped by 2,000 years of change, and still evolving with every new generation. And as new trends, slang, and digital expressions keep emerging, Japanese keeps evolving, proving that a language shaped by centuries of change is still shaping the future. Want to learn not just the history of Japanese, but how to actually speak it? Rocket Japanese doesn't just teach vocabulary, it gives you real-world phrases, cultural insights, and practical tools to help you live the language. Head to rocketlanguage.com and start your journey today.